Hello, my name is Diana and I am the director of Behind Closed Doors. I'm a member of Volcanic Productions and today we'll be answering evaluation question 3, which is, what did you learn from your audience feedback? In order to answer this question, we will be discussing the different areas of feedback we received during our A2 Media course, and we will then be discussing what we learned from the feedback and how reliable the feedback actually was. Let's get started. Over to Dan.
Hi, I'm Daniel, like Diana said. We had to do film pitches to pitch the. We had to do these to pitch our ideas for our films to our other teammates in our groups and also to the rest of the class as well. We did these so that we'd have an idea of how we would plan our final films. So it helped us with the planning processes because we had to write scripts or screenplays for them. We had to try and impress our other members in our group. So they were sort of like the commissioners, and we had to sort of impress them. So Mr. Wood would sort of let us do our film or not, if the pitch was good or bad. The feedback that we got, it sort of showed us that sometimes a good idea is not necessarily a good idea when it comes in terms of actually being realistic. So we might not actually be able to do the idea. So we did have a couple of things that were a bit sort of not very realistic. But the feedback that we got was reliable in most cases, but also the people were our classmates, so they may feel biased into giving us good feedback because they're sort of our friends. So that's all really. Back to you.
The second piece of audience feedback that we received was for the Behind Closed Doors commissioning interview. This was where we decided upon our main product would be and then had to pitch it to the teacher who would either commission our film or tell us where to improve it. Luckily, our production team's film was commissioned, which was all down to the audience feedback of the previous ideas, which enabled us to identify what worked and what didn't, and then combine all the positives together to create one main film idea, which we then used to create Behind Closed Doors. We learned from the commissioning interview how we could make our main product even better, but by talking about the ideas we had and the teacher then giving us constructive feedback on how to make those things better, how they would be practical and be able to be done. The aim and importance of this particular commissioning interview / pitch was to defend our film as much as possible and have covered every question that could possibly be answered, showing that we had thoroughly thought through the film before the interview. The reliability of this commissioning interview is good because the feedback we was getting was from somebody who had knowledge in the media area and so knew what he was talking about, which meant that if he said something would work, chances are it would work. I don't think there's any negative reliability. Anyway, over to Dan.
Again, yes. Once we had created our rough cuts, we had to then get audience feedback, and this consisted of improvements and also positives, of course. So there's improvements and positives. We cast it to our audience by using a screencast, where we played the video on a screen and had a camera recording the reactions of the people watching it. We did this to our media class again and our teacher, and then they sat with us individually and gave us constructive criticism. Some of the good points that they gave us was that the soundtrack fitted the actual storyline really well, and if like the tension built in the music, then there was the tension built on the screen. He said that also we had a creative use of camera work, because we had many effects and stuff that we put on afterwards in the post-production, in the after stuff. We then also had some improvements to do. The first improvement was that the shot that tilted up Alice's body was not very good. It needed to be redone because the focus slightly went out. It changed from Alice to Richard. Second improvement was some lighting effects. Some of them were too bright, some of them were too fuzzy, so we had to sort of neaten them up and try and make them more consistent. Another improvement was that Alice's head hit the banister in one of the shots, but it didn't really, sort of just looked crap. But yeah, so that's all. Yeah.
So once we created our film, it was time to move on to the film poster, which was where we got the full audience feedback. This was on like a rough cut of our poster, if you like, and this enabled us to like create the poster and then present it to our target audience. And in order to get feedback on how to improve it. The other two groups chose to do screencasts, which allowed you to see the poster and the reaction of the audience at the same time. However, my group chose to write notes and then turn them into blog out, which, thinking back now, is probably not a good idea. But at the time, it was much easier. We also presented our film poster to our main female actor, Rebecca, who really liked our poster and thought it all apart. Well, she did notice a few things that was also noticed when we presented it to the class. The points the audience were assessing our poster on were the awareness of conventions of layouts and page design, awareness of the need for a variety of fonts and text styles, any accurate use of language and register, appropriate integration of the illustration and text, and framing of shot using a variety of shot distances as appropriate. A couple of positive points about the poster, that was mentioned was the creativity of it and how we'd laid it out, and the fact that it looked like it belonged with a thriller film poster. They really liked how we blended together the images and the way that there was representation of different things throughout it. A negative of the poster was just that minor things like you weren't able to read some of the writing because it was white against a white background, which we then had to change in Photoshop after the improvements. But other than that, there wasn't any negatives to our poster, which was great. The reliability of the feedback that we received from the audience. The good point was, same as all the others, that our media class knows what they're talking about. They know what a good poster looks like and what a bad poster looks like, which means they can give us the improvements that we need because they know what they're talking about. While positive side to having Rebecca looking at our poster and giving us feedback was that she was able to give us what our target audience would see. So somebody who doesn't have a media insight and is just looking at the poster, Rebecca gave us that by looking at the poster and giving us a point of view of what the audience would want. I keep repeating myself. The negative of having Rebecca look at it could be two things. The fact that she doesn't have media insight, but that's more positive, depending on how you look at it. And the fact that, she was our actress, so you could think maybe we should be friends with her, so she doesn't want to insult us. That could be a possibility, or the fact that she might be a bit biased to say anything about it because she was in it. The negative to having our classmates assessing it as the audience would be that similar thing really of they're all friends and they don't want to insult anybody's work, which means they might be softer, they might notice bad things but not want to say it. So this can hinder the reliability, but overall the reliability feedback is good. What we learned from the poster feedback is that our creativity paid off, that when we took the ball by the horns, so to speak, it worked out well instead of a complete disaster. And we also learned that there were some aspects that needed tweaking thanks to the improvements. Anyway, I've talked enough now, over to Dan with the magazine.
Right, after the poster, then came the magazine review, which we split up our group and half of us did it. Half of us did the magazine review and half of us did the poster. In the magazine review, we used Quark Express to put our ideas together and make it all like aligned and put all the text and stuff. We didn't use a screencast for the audience feedback this time. We got written notes instead because it was easier than trying to get the reactions of people as they're reading the magazine review, because most people just look the same when they're reading. So we had some really good comments. We had the picture at the top. Well, the good, yeah. Good. Okay, so we had some bad points for the feedback when that was that the grammar needed to be addressed and the picture at the top needed to be changed because it didn't really fit really well and the focusing was all that stuff because of the weird effect of it. The good points was that it was all aligned correctly and the house style itself was a good choice.
Thank you to our cameraman.